विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाराचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद श्री डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाराचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मधुरा धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine Hiranyakashipo Vakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ido Narsimha Parato Narsimho Yeto yeto yami tato Narsimho Bahi Narsimho Hridaye Narsimho Narasimhamarim Sharanam Prabhade Tavakara Kamalavare Nagham Adbhuta Sringa Dalira Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jayo Narasimha Hare Jayo Narasimha Hare Jayo Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Gaura Premanande, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Gaura Premanande, Haribo, Haribo. So today we're going to hear from this book called The Path of Perfection. And this book was written by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, His Divine Grace has written, there are two processes by which we can acquire knowledge. One is the ascending process, otherwise known Aroha Panta, and the other is the descending process, known as Avaroha Panta. By the ascending, meaning going up, process, one attempts to understand God by his own efforts, by philosophizing, meditating, or speculating. According to the descending process, one acquires knowledge simply by hearing from an authorized authority, from the bona fide spiritual master and the scriptures. As far as the ascending process is concerned, it is stated in Brahma Samhita 534, Pantastukoti satavatsara sampragamyo vayoratapi manaso munipungavanam sopyasti yat prapana simni avichante tatve govindamadi purusham tamham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toes of whose lotus feet are approached by the yogis and jnanis who travel for billions of years at the speed of the wind or mind, we can all understand how great the speed of the mind is. Although sitting in New York City, I can immediately think of India, which is thousands and thousands of miles away. It is herein stated that even if one travels at this speed for billions of years, Krishna will still remain inconceivable. The word Muni Pungavanam refers to a great thinker, not an ordinary man. Even if such a great thinker travels for millions of years at the speed of mind, he will still find the Supreme Person unknowable. Yet for one who takes undeviating to this path of Krishna consciousness, Krishna is easy to obtain. Why is this? Nitya yuktasya yogina, because such a person is constantly engaged in my devotional service, and I cannot forget him. So this is the process. We have only to become submissive to attract the attention of God. My Guru Maharaja used to say, don't try to see God, but work in such a way that God will see you. God will take care of you. You don't have to try to see him. This should be our attitude. We should not think, I want to see God. Oh God, please come and stand before me. Be like my servant. But since God is no one's servant, we have to oblige him by our love and devotion. We all know how difficult it is to see the king or president of a country. It is practically impossible for an ordinary man to get an interview with such an important person, to say nothing of having this important person come and stand before him. Yet people are demanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, come and stand before them. It is our nature to hanker after Krishna, because he is the most attractive, most beautiful, most opulent, most powerful, most learned, and most famous person in the universe. Everyone hankers after these qualities, and Krishna is the reservoir of all these qualities, and he possesses them in full. Krishna is the reservoir of everything, rasa vai saha. Therefore, when we hanker after beauty or power or knowledge or fame, we should just turn our attention to Krishna. Then we will automatically get whatever our hearts desire. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here there's some wonderful statements in this purport. It says, don't try to see God, but work in such a way that God will see you. God will take care of you. You don't have to try to see him. This should be our attitude. We should not think, I want to see God. Oh God, please come and stand before me. Be like my servant. But since God is no one's servant, we have to oblige him by our love and service. We all know how difficult it is to see the king or president of a country. It is practically impossible for an ordinary man to get an interview with such an important person, to say nothing of having this important person come and stand before him. Yet people are demanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead come and stand before them. It is our nature to hanker after Krishna, because he is the most attractive, most beautiful, most opulent, most powerful, most learned, and most famous person in the universe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hari Hari. Mam upetya punarjanma dukalayam asasvatam na punuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. After attaining me, Krishna says, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Bhagavad Gita 8.15. This material world is certified by its very creator, the Supreme Lord, as Dukkalayam, which means the place of miseries. Since this is the case, how can we possibly make it comfortable by so-called scientific advancement? Dukkha means misery or suffering, and real suffering is birth, old age, disease, and death. We have set these problems aside because we cannot solve them. Therefore, scientists concentrate on atomic bombs and spaceships. Why can't they solve these important problems that are always causing us to suffer? What do you mean? What does it mean? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Why can't they do something to stop that rather than playing around with atomic bombs? Why can't they solve these important problems that are always causing us to suffer? Obviously, they haven't the power to do so. But in this verse, Shri Krishna gives the solution. Mam upetya punarjanma. That is, if one attains my platform, Krishna says, he does not come back again to this place of misery. End of quote. Unfortunately, in the mode of ignorance, people cannot understand that they are in a miserable situation. Animals cannot understand their miserable situations because they haven't the reason. Man possesses reason whereby he can understand this. But in this age, people are using their reasoning power in order to gratify their animal propensities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Reason should be used in getting liberated from this miserable condition of birth, death, old age, and disease. However, if we engage in Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day without deviation, we will go to Krishna and not be reborn in this miserable world. Mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Those great souls who have attained the highest perfection, Krishna consciousness, are forever freed from misery. In this verse, the word Mahatma refers to a Krishna-conscious man eligible to enter the abode of Krishna. The word Mahatma does not refer to a political leader like Mahatma Gandhi, but to a great soul, a pure devotee of Krishna. When Krishna says that the Mahatma enters his abode, he is referring to his transcendental kingdom, Goloka Vrindavana. The Vrindavana from which I have come is called Bhoma Vrindavana, which means it is the same Vrindavana descended on this earth. Just as Krishna descended on this earth through his own internal potency, similarly his Dhamma, his abode, also descends. In other words, when Krishna descends on this earth, he manifests himself in his particular land, Vrindavana, and therefore that land is also sacred. Apart from this, Krishna has his own abode in the spiritual sky, and this is also called Goloka Vrindavana. The Mahatma prepares in this life to enter that transcendental abode. The human form of life can utilize nature to its best interest. Animals cannot. These facilities should be utilized in striving to become a Mahatma and putting an end to birth in this material world, which is characterized by threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those that pertain to the mind or the body, natural disturbances, and miseries caused by other living entities. Whatever our position in this material world, there is always some kind of misery being inflicted upon us. Sri Krishna frankly says that it is not possible to avoid misery in this material world because this world is meant for misery. Unless miseries are present, we cannot come to Krishna consciousness. Misery serves as an impetus to help elevate us to Krishna consciousness. An intelligent person understands that although he does not want misery, miseries are being inflicted upon him by force. No one wants misery, but a person should be intelligent enough to question, why are these miseries being enforced upon me? Unfortunately, in modern civilization, people try to set miseries aside, thinking, oh, why suffer? Let me cover my miseries with some intoxication. However, the miseries of life cannot be solved by artificial intoxication. As soon as the intoxication is over, one returns to the same point. The miseries of material existence can be solved only by Krishna consciousness. If we always remain in Krishna consciousness, we'll be transferred to Krishna's planet upon leaving this material body. That is called the highest perfection of life. People may inquire, well, you say that entering Krishna's planet constitutes the highest perfection, but we are interested in going to the moon. Is this not a kind of perfection? Well, the desire to enter the higher planets is always there in the human mind. In fact, another name for the living entity is Sarya Gata, which means that he wants to travel everywhere. That is the nature of the living entity. Americans who have money often go to India, Europe, or some other country because they do not like to stagnate in one place. That is our nature, and therefore we are interested in going to the moon or wherever. But according to Krishna, even if we attain the higher planets, we are still subjected to the miseries, material miseries, birth, death, old age, and disease. Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka, Punar Avartina Rijana, Mahamupetya tu Konteya, Punar Janma Navidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. This is Krishna speaking. The universe is divided into 14 planetary systems, Chatur Dasa Bhuvana, 7 lower and 7 higher. The earth is situated in the middle. In this verse, Sri Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka, even if one enters the highest planet, Brahmaloka, there is still birth and death. The words Punar Avartina mean returning again, or repetition of birth and death. We are changing bodies just as we change clothes, leaving one body and entering another. All planets are filled with living entities. We shouldn't think that only the earth is inhabited. There are living entities on the higher planets and the lower planets as well. From our experience, we can see that no place on earth is vacant of living entities. If we dig into the earth, we find some worms. If we go into the water, we find many aquatics. The air is filled with birds, and if we analyze outer space, we will find many living entities. It is illogical to conclude that there are uh, uh, no living entities on the other planets. To the contrary, they are full of living entities. In any case, Krishna says that from the highest planet to the lowest planet, there is repetition of birth and death. Yet again, as in the former verse, he says, "Mam upetya." If you reach my planet, you don't have to return to this miserable material world. To stress this point, Sri Krishna repeats that upon reaching Goloka Vrindavana, his eternal abode, one is liberated from the cycle of birth and death and attains eternal life. It is the duty of a human being to understand these problems and attain a blissful eternal life that is full of knowledge. Unfortunately, people in this age have forgotten the aim of life. Why? Durasaya ya bahir artha manina. Bhagavatam 7.5.31. People have been trapped by the material glitter, by skyscrapers, big factories, and political activities. People do not stop to consider that however big the skyscraper may be, they will not be allowed to live there indefinitely. We should not spoil our energy, therefore, in building great cities, but should employ our energy to elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not a religious formula or some spiritual recreation, but it is the most important factor in our lives. People are interested in attaining higher planets because there one's enjoyment is 1,000 times greater and the duration of life much longer. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Vidu. Ratrim Yuga Sahasranam Te Ho Ratra Vido Jana. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 8.17. The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The cycle of Satya Yuga is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice. And the Yuga lasts 1,728,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced, and this Yuga lasts 1,296,000 years. In the Dwapara Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this Yuga lasts 864,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the Yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existent. And this Yuga lasts 432,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the Yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki Avatara, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas, rotating 1,000 times, comprise one day of Brahma, the creator God, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years, by Earth calculation, total 311 trillion and 40 million Earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the management of this universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet in the material universe, and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all inhabitants of the Brahmaloka are subject to death. According to the law of material nature, so even if we live millions and trillions of years, we have to die. Death cannot be avoided. Throughout the entire universe, the process of creation and annihilation is taking place, as described in the next verse. Avyaktad vyaktaya sarva prabhavanti yahar agame ratri agame praliyante tatraiva vyakta samgyate. When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities comes into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. Bhagavad Gita 8.18. Unless we go to the spiritual sky, there's no escaping this process of birth and death, creation and annihilation. When Brahma's days are finished, all these planetary systems are covered by water, and when Brahma rises again, creation takes place. The word ahar means in the daytime, which is 12 hours of Brahma's life. During this time, this material manifestation, all these planets are seen, but when night comes, they are all merged in water. That is, they are annihilated. The word ratri agame means at the fall of night. During this time, all these planets are invisible because they are inundated with water. This flux is the nature of the material world. Bhutagrama sa eva yam, bhutva praliyate, ratri agame vasa partha, prabhavati ahar agame. Again and again the day comes, and this host of beings is active. And again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved. Bhagavad Gita 8.19. Although we do not want devastation, devastation is inevitable. At night, everything is flooded, and when the day appears, gradually the waters disappear. For instance, on this one planet, the surface is 3/4 covered with water. Gradually, land is emerging, and the day will come when there will no longer be water but simply land. That is nature's process. Paras tasmat tubhavo nyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana yasa sarve subhutesu nas yatsu na vinasyati. Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and non-manifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Bhagavad Gita 8.20. We cannot calculate the length and breadth of this universe. There are millions and millions of universes like this one, like this, within this material world. And above this material world is the spiritual sky, where the planets are all eternal. Life on those planets is also eternal. This material manifestation comprises only 1/4 of the entire creation. Ekam sena stito jagat. Ekam sena means 1/4. 3/4 of the creation is beyond this material sky, which is covered like a ball. This covering extends millions and millions of miles, and only after penetrating that covering can one enter the spiritual sky. That is open sky, eternal sky. In this verse, it is stated, Paras tasmat tubhavo nyo. Yet there is another nature. The word vaya means another nature. We have experience only with this material nature. But from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that there is a spiritual nature that is transcendental and eternal. We actually belong to that spiritual nature because we are spirit. But presently we are covered by this material body, and therefore we are a combination of the material and spiritual. Just as we can understand that we are a combination of both natures, we should understand also that there is a spiritual world beyond this material universe. Spiritual nature is called superior, and the material nature is called inferior, because without spirit, matter cannot move. This cannot be understood by experimental knowledge. We may look at millions and millions of stars through telescopes, but we cannot approach what we are seeing. Similarly, our senses are so insufficient that we cannot approach an understanding of the spiritual nature. Being incapable, we should not try to understand God and His kingdom by experimental knowledge. Rather, we have to understand by hearing Bhagavad Gita. There is no other way. If we want to know who our Father is, we simply have to believe our mother. We have no other way of knowing except by her. Similarly, in order to understand who God is and what His nature is, we have to accept the information given in Bhagavad Gita. There is no question of experimenting. Once we become advanced in Krishna consciousness, we will realize God and His nature. We can come to understand, yes, there is God and His spiritual kingdom, and I have to go there. Indeed, I must prepare myself to go there. The word vyakta means manifest. This material universe that we see, that we are seeing or partially seeing before us is manifest. At least at night, we can see that stars are twinkling and that there are innumerable planets. But beyond this vyakta is another nature called avyakta, which is unmanifest. That is the spiritual nature, which is sanatana, eternal. This material nature has a beginning and an end, but that spiritual nature has neither beginning nor end. This material sky is within the covering of the Mahat Tattva, matter. This matter is like a cloud. When there is a storm, it appears that the entire sky is covered with clouds. But actually, only an insignificant part of the sky is covered. Because we are very minute, if just a few hundred miles are covered, it appears that the entire sky is covered. As soon as a wind comes and blows the clouds away, we can see the sky once again. Like the clouds, this Mahat Tattva covering has a beginning and an end. Similarly, the material body, being a part of material nature, has a beginning and an end. The body is born, grows, stays for some time, leaves some byproducts, meaning children, dwindles, and then vanishes. Whatever material manifestation we see undergoes these six basic transformations. Whatever exits within the material nature will ultimately be vanquished. But herein, Krishna is telling us that beyond this vanishing, cloud like material nature, there is a superior nature, which is sanatana, eternal. Ya sa sarvesu bhutesu nasyatsu na vinasyati. When this material manifestation is annihilated, that spiritual sky remains. This is called avyakto vyaktat. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of the spiritual sky and the people who live there. Its nature and features are also discussed. From this second canto, we understand that there are spiritual airplanes in the spiritual sky, and that the living entities there, who are all liberated, travel like lightning on those planets, on those planes, throughout the spiritual sky. This material world is simply an imitation. Whatever we see here is simply a shadow of what exists there. The material world is like a cinema, wherein we see but an imitation or a shadow of the real thing that is existing. This material world is only a shadow, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, Yat Chatri Sargo Mrisha. This illusory material world is a combination of matter. In store windows, we often see mannequins, but no sane man thinks that these mannequins are real. He can see that they are imitations. Similarly, whatever we see here may be beautiful, just as a mannequin may be beautiful, but it is simply an imitation of the real beauty found in the spiritual world. As Sridhara Swami says, Yat satyataya mitya sargo pi satyavat pratiyate. The supreme world is real, and this unreal material manifestation only appears to be real. We must understand that reality will never be vanquished, and that in essence, reality means eternality. Therefore, material pleasure, which is temporary, is not actual. Real pleasure exists in Krishna. Consequently, those who are after the reality don't participate in this shadow pleasure. Thus, when everything in the material world is annihilated, that spiritual nature remains eternally. And it is the purpose of human life to reach that spiritual sky. Unfortunately, people are not aware of the reality of the spiritual sky. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Na te viduswartagatim hi Vishnum. People do not know their self-interest. They do not know that human life is meant for understanding spiritual reality and preparing oneself to be transferred to that spiritual reality. No one can remain here in this material world. All Vedic literatures instruct us in this way. Tamasi ma jyotirgama. Don't remain in this darkness. Go to the light. According to the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 15.6, Natad ba sayate suryo, na sasanko na pavaka, yad gadva na nivartante, taddama paramam mama. That abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns. to this material world. This material world is dark by nature, and we are artificially illuminating it with electric lights, fire, and so on. In any case, its nature is dark, but the spiritual nature is full of light. When the sun is present, there is no darkness. Similarly, every planet in the spiritual sky is self-luminous. Therefore, there is no darkness, nor is there need of sun, moon, or electricity. The world, Suryo means sun, Sasanko means moon, and Pavaka means fire or electricity. So, these are not required in the spiritual sky for illumination. And again, Krishna herein says, Yad Gatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. That is my supreme abode, and one who reaches it never returns to this material world. And one who reaches it, this is stated throughout Bhagavad Gita. Again, in this 8th chapter, Bhagavad Gita 8:21, Avyakto kshara iti yuktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddama paramam mama. That supreme abode is called unmanifested and infallible, and it is the supreme destination. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abode. Again, the word avyakta means unmanifest, is used. The word akshara means that which is never annihilated, or that which is infallible. This means that since the supreme abode is eternal, it is not subject to the 6 transformations mentioned previously. Because we are presently covered by a dress of material senses, we cannot see the spiritual world, and the spiritual nature is inconceivable for us. Yet we can feel that there is something spiritual present. Even a man completely ignorant of the spiritual nature can somehow feel its presence. One need only analyze his body silently. What am I? Am I this finger? Am I this body? Am I this hair? No. Am I this? And am I that? I am something other than this body. I am something beyond this body. What is that? That is the spiritual. In this way, we can feel our sense and presence of spirituality within this matter. We can sense the absence of spirit when a body is dead. If we witness someone dying, we can sense that something is leaving the body. Although we do not know, we do not have eyes, the eyes to see it, and sometimes is spirit to see it, that something is spirit. Its presence in the body is explained in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita 2:17. Avinasi tatadvidi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasam avyayasya nakaschit kartam arhati. Know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Spiritual existence is eternal, whereas the body is not. It is said that the spiritual atmosphere is avyakta, unmanifest. How then can it be manifest for us? Making the unmanifest manifest is this very process of Krishna consciousness. According to Padma Purana, Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Graham Indriyai Sevan Mukhe Hijiva Do Swayam Eva Purat Yada. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. In this verse, The word indriya means the senses. We have 5 senses for gathering knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, and 5 senses for working: voice, hands, legs, genitals, and anus. These 10 senses are under the control of the mind. It is stated in this verse that with these dull material senses, we cannot understand Krishna's name, form, and so forth. Why is this? Krishna is completely spiritual, and he is also absolute. Therefore, his name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia are also spiritual. Due to material conditioning or material bondage, we cannot presently understand what is spiritual, but this ignorance can be removed by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If a man is sleeping, he can be awakened by sound vibration. You can call him, "Come on, it's time to get up." Although the person is unconscious, hearing is so prominent that even a sleeping man can be awakened by sound vibration. Similarly, overpowered by this material conditioning, our spiritual consciousness is presently sleeping, but it can be revived by this transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As stated before, Hare refers to the energy of the Lord, and Krishna and Rama refer to the Lord himself. Therefore, when we chant Hare Krishna, we are praying, "O Lord, O energy of the Lord, please accept me." We have no other prayer than, "Please accept me." Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us that we should simply cry and pray that the Lord accept us. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself preached, Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dulisadrisam vichintaya. O Krishna, son of Nanda, somehow or other I have fallen into this ocean of ignorance or nescience. Please pick me up and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. If a man has fallen into the ocean, his only hope for survival is that someone comes to pick him up. He only has to be lifted 1 inch above the water in order to feel immediate relief. Similarly, as soon as we take to Krishna consciousness, we are lifted up and we feel immediate relief. We cannot doubt that the transcendental is there. Bhagavad Gita is being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, we should not doubt his word. The only problem is feeling and understanding what he is telling us. That understanding must be developed gradually, and that knowledge will be revealed by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By this simple process, we can come to understand the spiritual kingdom, the self, the material world, God, the nature of our conditioning, liberation from material bondage, and everything else. This is called Chaito Darpana Marjanam, cleaning the dusty mirror of the impure mind. Whatever the case, we must have faith in the word of Krishna. When we purchase a ticket, when we purchase a ticket on Pan American or Air India, we have faith that That company will take us to our destination. Faith is created because the company is authorized. Our faith should not be blind. Therefore, we should accept that which is recognized. Bhagavad Gita has been recognized as authorized scripture in India for thousands of years. And even outside India, there are many scholars, religionists, and philosophers who have accepted Bhagavad Gita as authoritative. It is said that even such a great scientist as Albert Einstein was reading Bhagavad Gita regularly. So, we should not doubt Bhagavad Gita's authenticity. Therefore, when Lord Krishna says that there is a supreme abode and that we can go there, we should have faith that such an abode exists. Many philosophers think that the spiritual abode is impersonal or void. Impersonalists, like the Sankarites and the Buddhists, gradually speak of the void or emptiness. But Bhagavad Gita does not disappoint us in this way. The philosophy of voidism has simply created atheism because it is the nature of the living entity to want enjoyment. As soon as he thinks that his future is void, he will try to enjoy the variegatedness of this material world. Thus, impersonalism leads to armchair philosophical discussions and attachment to material enjoyment. We may enjoy speculating, but no real spiritual benefit can be derived from such speculation. Bhakti parisano bhavo viraktir anyata cha. Bhagavatam 11.2.42. Once we have developed the devotional spirit, we will become immediately detached from all kinds of material enjoyment. As soon as a hungry man eats, he feels immediate satisfaction and says, "No, I don't want any more. I am satisfied." This satisfaction is a characteristic of the Krishna consciousness man. Brahmabhuta prasanatma, na sochati na kankshati, samak sarve subhutesu, mad bhaktim labhate param. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service to me. Srimad Bhagavatam 18.54. As soon as one is spiritually realized, he feels full satisfaction and no longer hankers after flickering material enjoyment. As stated in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Vishaya vinivartante nirahara siddhihina rasavarjam rasopiyasya param dristva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. A doctor may tell a diseased man, "Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't have sex, don't. In this way, a diseased man is forced to accept so many don'ts, but inside he is thinking, "Oh, if I can just get these things, I'll be happy." The desires remain inside. However, when one is established in Krishna consciousness, he is so strong inside that he doesn't experience the desire. Although he is not impotent, he doesn't want sex. He can marry thrice, but still be detached. Param dristva nivartate. When something superior is acquired, one naturally gives up all inferior things. That which is superior is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And atheism and impersonalism cannot give us this. He has attained only by unalloyed devotion. Purusha sa para parta bhaktya labhyas twananyayat. Twananya, twananyaya. Yes yantak stani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. Bhagavad Gita 8.22. The words Purusha Sa Para indicate the Supreme Person who is greater than all. This is not a void speaking, but a person who has all the characteristics of personality in full. Just as we are talking face to face, when we reach the supreme abode, we can talk to God face to face. We can play with him, eat with him, and everything else. This state is not acquired by mental speculation, but by transcendental loving service. Bhaktya labhyaha. The words twananyaya indicate that this bhakti must be without adulteration. It must be unalloyed. Although the Supreme Personality is a person and is present in his abode in the spiritual sky, he is so widespread that everything is within him. He is both inside and outside. Although God is everywhere, he still has his kingdom, his abode. The sun may provide the universe with its sunshine, yet the sun itself is a separate entity. In his supreme abode, the Supreme Lord has no rival. Wherever he may be, we find a predominating personality. In the United States, the predominating personality is the president. However, when the next election comes, the president will have so many rivals. But in the spiritual sky, the Supreme Lord has no rival. Those who want to become rivals are placed in this material world under the conditions of material nature. In the spiritual sky, there is no rivalry, and all the inhabitants therein are liberated souls. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, we receive information that their bodily features resemble God's. In some of the spiritual planets, God manifests in two-armed form, and in others, he manifests a four-armed form. The living entity of those planets have corresponding features, and one cannot distinguish who is God and who is not. This is called Swarupa Mukti, liberation, wherein one has the same features as God. There are 5 kinds of liberation: Sayuja, Sarupya, Salokya, Shastri, and Samipya. Sayuja Mukti means merging into God's impersonal effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti. We have discussed this and have concluded that the attempt to merge and lose individuality is not desirable and is very risky. Sarupya Mukti means attaining a body exactly like God's. Salokya Mukti means living on the same planet with God. Shastri Mukti means having the opulence of God. For instance, God is very powerful, and we can become powerful like him. That is called Shastri. Samipya Mukti means always remaining with God as one of his associates. For instance, Arjuna is always with Krishna as his friend, and this is called Samipya Mukti. Okay, please keep quiet. Please keep quiet. Thank you. Okay, please keep quiet. We can attain any one of these 5 types of liberation, but out of these 5, Sayuja Mukti, merging into the Brahmajyoti, is rejected by Vaishnava philosophy. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, we worship God as He is and retain our separate identity eternally in order to serve Him. According to Mayavada philosophy, impersonalism, one tires to lose his individual identity and merge into the existence of the Supreme. That, however, is a suicidal policy and is not recommended by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. This has also been rejected by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who advocated worship in separation. Jai Shri Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai. As stated before, the pure devotee does not even want liberation. He simply asks to remain Krishna's devotee birth after birth. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer, and the words birth after birth indicate that there is no liberation. This means that the devotee doesn't care whether he is liberated or not. He simply wants to engage in Krishna consciousness, to serve the Supreme Lord. Always wanting to engage in God's transcendental loving service is the symptom of pure devotion. Of course, wherever a devotee is, he remains in the spiritual kingdom, even though in the material body. On his part, he does not demand any of the 5 types of liberation, nor anything for his personal superiority or comfort. But in order to associate with God in the spiritual planets, one must become his pure devotee. For those who are not pure devotees, Lord Krishna explains at what times one should leave the body in order to attain liberation. Yatra kale tva anavritam, avritim chaiva yogina, prayata yantitam kalam, vakshami bharatarsabha. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, one does or does not come back. Bhagavad Gita 8:23. In India, unlike in the West, it is common for astrologers to make minute calculations of the astronomical situation at the moment of one's birth. Indeed, a person's horoscope is read not only when he is born, but also when he dies, in order to determine what his situation will be in the next life. All this can be determined by astrological calculation. In this verse, Lord Krishna is accepting those astrological principles, confirming that if one leaves his body at a particular time, he may attain liberation. If one dies at one moment, he may be liberated. Or if he dies at another moment, he may have to return to the material world. It is all a question of chance. But that chance, some way or other, is what one has. For the devotee, however, there is no question of chance. Whatever the astrological situation, the devotee in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed liberation. For others, there are chances that if they leave their body at a particular moment, they may attain liberation and enter the spiritual kingdom, or they may be reborn. Agnir Jyotir Aha Sukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. Those who know the Supreme Brahman pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment, during the fiery god at an auspicious moment, during the fortnight of the moon and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Bhagavad Gita 8:24. As we all know, the sun's movements are different. 6 months it is north of the equator, and 6 months it is south. The sun is also moving according to Vedic calculations, and from Srimad Bhagavatam, we are informed that the sun is situated at the center of the universe. Just as all the planets are moving, the sun is also moving at a speed calculated to be 16,000 miles per second. Wow. If a person dies when the sun is in the northern hemisphere, he can attain liberation. That is not only the verdict of Bhagavad Gita, but also of other scriptures. Dumo ratris tata Krishna, sanmasa dukasin ayanam, tatra chandra masam jyotir yogi prapya nivartate. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the moonless fortnight, or in the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, where right now it's while the sun is passing in the south, or who reaches the moon planet, again comes back. Bhagavad Gita 8:25. No one can say when he is going to die, and in that sense, the moment of one's death is accidental. However, for a devotee in Krishna consciousness, there's no question of accidents. Sukla Krishna gati hi ete, jagata sasvate mate, ekaya yati anavritim, anya ya vartate puna. According to the Vedas, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back again. But when one passes in darkness, he returns. Bhagavad Gita 8:26. The same description of departure and return is quoted by Acharya Baladeva Vidyabhusana from the Chandogya Upanishad. In such a way, those who are fruitive laborers and philosophical speculators from time immemorial are constantly going and coming. Actually, they do not attain ultimate salvation, for they do not surrender to Krishna. Naite shriti partha janan, yogi muhate kaschana, tasmat sarve sakalesu, yoga yukto bhavarjuna. The devotees who know these two paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Bhagavad Gita 8:27. Herein, the Lord confirms that there is no chance for one who practices bhakti yoga. His destination is certain. Whether he dies when the sun is in the northern or southern hemisphere is of no importance. As we have already stated, if one thinks of Krishna at the time of death, he will at once be transferred to Krishna's abode. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna to always remain in Krishna consciousness. This is possible through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Since Krishna and his spiritual kingdom are non-different, being absolute, Krishna and his sound vibration are the same. Simply, by vibrating Krishna's name, we can enjoy Krishna's association. If we are walking down the street chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is also going with us. Did you know that? If we walk down the street and look up at the sky, we may see that the sun or the moon is accompanying us. I can recall about 50 years ago, when I was a householder, my second son, who was about 4 years old at the time, was walking with me down the street, and he suddenly asked me, "Father, why is the moon going with us?" If a material object like the moon has the power to accompany us, we can surely understand that the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, can always remain with us. Being omnipotent, he can always keep us company, provided that we are also qualified to keep his company. Pure devotees are always merged in the thought of Krishna and are always remembering that Krishna is with them. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has confirmed the absolute nature of Krishna in his Sikshastika, verse 2. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarvasaktis, tatra pita niyamitak smarani nakala, etadrasi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi, durdaivam drisi samihajani nanuragaha. My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names, such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in these names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. We may take the effort to spend a great deal of money and attempt to build or establish a temple for Krishna. But if we do so, we must observe many rules and regulations and see properly to the temple's management. But herein it is confirmed that simply by chanting any man can have the benefit of keeping company with Krishna. That's a very important statement. But herein it is confirmed that simply by chanting, of course, Hare Krishna, any man can have the benefit of keeping company with Krishna. Just as Arjuna is deriving benefit by being in the same chariot with Lord Sri Krishna, we can also benefit by associating with Krishna through the chanting of his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Mahamantra is not my personal concoction, but is authorized by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is considered to be not only an authority, but the incarnation of the Lord Sri Krishna himself. It was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who said, "O Lord, you are so kind to the people of this material world that you expand yourself in your holy name so that they can associate with you." Although the Mahamantra is in the Sanskrit language, and many people do not know its meaning, it is still so attractive that people participate when it is chanted publicly. When chanting the Mahamantra, we are completely safe, even in this most dangerous position. We should always be aware that in this material world, we are always in a dangerous position. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam Na Tesam. In this world, there is danger at every step. The devotees of the Lord, however, are not meant to remain in this miserable, dangerous place. Therefore, we should take care to advance in Krishna consciousness while in this human form. Then our happiness is assured. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai, Jai, all glories to the Vaishnava Acharyas. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this is wonderful. Yeah. I didn't realize how wonderful it is. Yeah, this is the chapter 10, right? Path of Perfection. Oh, boy. Okay, any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Of course, no questions. There's not going to be any comments. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Maharaj, generally we tell that God's impersonal effulgence, Brahmajyoti, is false and all. But here it is mentioned, Maharaj, that all these five things are there.
Say that again.
I mean, we tell Brahma Jyoti is not that much importance. We have to have our own identity with Krishna.
Yeah.
But here they wrote this is also a.
Who said Brahma Jyoti is not important?
I mean, generally, that was assumed. No,
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
my understanding was like this. We have to have our own identity and we don't merge with Brahma Jyoti and all.
Okay, go ahead.
So, but here all these 5 kinds of liberation are there,
Yeah, including Brahma Jyoti.
including Brahma Jyoti. So why we are opting for third or fourth one? We have to have
No, it's the last one. Or yeah. Anyway, Brahma Jyoti is when you realize only that you are like a minute light, right? But later on, you can, by devotional service, become a human being. Before that, when you're not so evolved spiritually, you'll be in the Brahmajyoti, the light emanating from the body of Krishna. But that light is full of living entities. Yes, yeah. Any other? That was a good question. Any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Microphone? Yes.
I had a question was that many times we describe, Prabhupada describes in the purport about sun planet, sun disk, and sun rays.
Yeah.
So,
3 levels of realization of the sun. Yeah.
so I was trying to think about different yogis. Like Bhakti yogi is one who thinks like sun god is Vivaswan. So sun planet, sun god is there. So that is the personal feature of the Lord. And then that is Bhakti yogi, and then the sun disk and the sunshine. So which
Sun is for the Brahma, for the, what do you call them? Impersonalists.
impersonal?
Yeah.
Is that the Jnana Yogi Maharaj or is it the
No,
Jnana Yogis?
no. They are, what's it called? Anyway, they are impersonalists.
They are impersonal.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's so nice to be a genuine devotee. Then you can be with Krishna all the time, face to face. That's possible. And that's the perfection of spiritual life. All these other yogis and the different types of yoga, those are efforts to come closer to Krishna. But bhakti yoga means you're directly connected to Krishna eternally. So that's the highest level of Krishna consciousness. You're always engaged in the service of Krishna. Not everybody reaches pure devotional service of Krishna, for Krishna, because they get attracted by some things on the path, and then they get stuck. But if you are determined to always be connected to Krishna with love and devotion, then you'll be seeing Krishna all the time. And people who are wishy-washy, sometimes they want to be with Krishna, sometimes they want to be with sense gratification. So they never really achieve the real perfection of spiritual life. But when we become very serious about spiritual life, we don't want to do anything else than to meditate and chant the holy names of the Lord and meditate on Krishna. So that is real spiritual life. Yeah. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you very much. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And don't say can't. Say chant. Haribol.